Let me get this set up. Let me get this set up. What is going on here? Stuff I don't care about. Well, if it's ever gonna pop up and show up and be on both waves of it, there it is. It's coming back. It's in the existence field. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see here. What else we need to do? We need to do this. Yeah, we can just do that. Welcome in when y'all get in. Whenever that may be. Hopefully you all are feeling good. Well, not good. I'll be feeling better than good. I'll be feeling well and blessed and highly favored and fortuned and however. But welcome in when y'all get in. We're just gonna be talking. I have a subject to talk about, and it really has a lot to do with a lot of the fake. Awesome. I love words. Anyway, it's gonna be about the fake spiritualism that goes on a lot, and how to like recognize it, because it's gone on for so long, and it's a cycle that's easy to get stuck in, and it's because the people that are in that cycle either don't know the way out or know the way out and aren't like speaking about it. But again, it all roots down to when it comes down to spirituality is knowing what the word means. And spirituality, if you look up the etymology of the word, just means of spirit, the origins of spirit, the actions with spirit. So how can a spirit be anything? Can people send you negative energy? No. The only energy that can be sent is from you. If you pick up on negative energy, that's a part of you that's not allowing yourself to understand it. You're projecting it outward so you can understand it, really be under the pressure, not overstanding it, but understanding it. Because when you, let's say that you don't like that painting back there, right? That painting's not sending you negative energy. You're just not enjoying seeing it. So instead of internalizing it, you might go, I don't like that photo. It's not that you don't like that photo. There's something inside of you that's trying to say that photo is reminding you of something. That photo has now sent you an idea, a wand, the fire, the reason why you don't like that photo. Why not? You don't like the colors? You don't like the way the camera's facing it? What's the reason? It's not the photo that you don't like, because it's not doing anything. It's all you at the base of it. Even when we can take it a step further and say someone says something that you don't like let's say someone replies to a comment and you're like, oh, you're sending me negative energy. No one's sending you negative energy because you're reading it. If you didn't read it, they couldn't send shit to you. You couldn't even use that excuse, but you read it. You engaged with it. So that's you and your energy that's interacting with it, not the other person. You see what I mean? That's the scapegoating that happens within the spiritual community, where people's like, people are sending you negative energy. No one's sending you negative energy. In fact, if you want to take it a step further, those readings that people do where they're like, someone's sending you negative energy, it's not anyone sending you negative energy. It's that reader who's not liking the cards out on the table, not liking the definitions, the reasonings that they've agreed with that card internally, and instead of internalizing that and overstanding that, they project it externally and say someone else is doing it instead of themselves, because it all comes from you. If you don't want to pick up on something, if you don't want to read something, then you must change your definition. You have to unlearn why something bothers you, why something feels low vibrational, why something feels wrong, why something feels all these ways for you. You need to rewire that, rewrite that, so you no longer are under that effect, that spell, because it all comes from you, and your ego needs that fuel, so it can say, oh, we need to protect you from this, we need to protect you from that, right? And it will give all sorts of reasonings for that. Like, for instance, let's say someone raises their voice or someone speaks very bluntly, and in the past you had that happen a lot and you just didn't like being spoken to that way, right? And in the future you're meeting new people who also speak that sort of way. It's not that they're the same energy, it's not that they're replicating those same traumas that you've gone through. That's just the way that they speak. It's something inside of you that's saying, hey, you're still bothered by this, let's work through this. And a lot of people don't get to that point. A lot of people just stay at the point of, I don't like it, so if I don't like it, that means it's out there to hurt me, and now my ego needs to protect me. So how is my ego going to protect me? By giving me a reason, and that reason is going to be, you're being mean to me, or you're projecting negative energy toward me, or you're doing this and you're doing that, instead of actualizing it as the main point of it just being, it's me and I need to heal from this, and there's something deeper within this that I'm not even seeing yet, because I've been clouded by my own past vision, by my own personal experiences that I've yet to dig deep enough and dive into. It's a working process, it's an everyday thing, and it's difficult for sure, because we're not told these things, we're not taught how to do these things. In fact, you can't really teach someone how to do these things. It's just speaking about it and then allowing yourself to experiment it throughout days. It's the same thing of not liking food. You know how sometimes you don't eat food for a while and you end up liking it, and you didn't used to like it as a child? It's because your taste buds matured. Your brain had a new configuration. You changed without even realizing anything happened, because you haven't even had it for a while. Maybe you just grown tired of it. Maybe you were just around the smell so much that it just messed with your brain, and you started to not like it because it became too familiar for you. However, it's removing yourself from that space and seeing it in a different light. It's bizarre, because so many people in the spiritual community get stuck under those spells. And I mean, I'm not the saint that hasn't been put under it. I'm guilty of it. That's why I'm doing my due diligence and doing my best I can to reverse it. Of course, I keep that stuff up there because it needs to be up there to get people. You know what I mean? You can't just, avoid the enemy completely in battle. You have to play their game. It's the same thing why guerrilla tactics were made. Read the art of war. That whole book will teach you so much about how to fight the devil, or how to fight these curses, or how to stand up against other people. It's not about being dirty and playing dirty. It's about understanding the rules that are going on, understanding the environment that you're in, and using that to your advantage. It's a very good book. It is a beautiful book. The Art of War is a must read. Even if you're not a spiritual person, it's a must read just to know how to make it through life. Because at the end of the day, you're always going to be at war, not with the external, but with the internal. And if you can figure out how the internal is allowing you to configure with the external, you'll be safe. You'll be fine. You'll literally glide through life. And you might hit a few rocks here and there, but you'll be less stuck on those reasons, on those obstacles. But it's again, like, not many people talk about it this way. Not a lot of people have reached that level. Not a lot of people have actually done deep meditations. A lot of people, again, like when it comes to meditation, a lot of people just think that I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna clear my mind, I'm gonna listen to frequencies. People don't meditate on questions anymore, which is a really big issue. Some people, I mean, I'm not saying everyone don't, but a lot of people within the spiritual community don't meditate on questions anymore. They don't sit back and try to actually see what's going on, the two sides of things. They don't unpolarize themselves. They don't unrationalize themselves. They don't allow themselves to see what's going on, where one part breaks things down and the other side breaks things down. They're not seeing the both sides of it. And like, again, like the best way to describe that with the photo, if you've ever seen the photo of the two brains with the like the, what is it called, what is that, like, I don't know what they're called. It's like the circuit board stuff. It's like the brain with the circuits inside of it. Have you ever seen those images? I don't know. Let me look one up for you, because it's a good example of seeing like what I'm talking about. Yeah, but I need a front view, not a side view. The side view is not what I'm talking about. I need a front view. Where is it at? Okay, here's one that works. Can I flip the camera still? Hell yeah, I can. Okay, well, that's me. That's not what you need to see. this this right here explains what I'm talking about in the best way I can say it. Is see how both sides, they're connected, but they're also splitting off into different paths. That's what both sides of you do. That's what both sides of your twins do. One side takes one and starts messing with it, configuring it with its own matrix, and the other side does the same thing. Whether that's going to be with the physical or spiritual, the internal or external, depends on what side you're viewing. You know, it's about being in the middle of both of them at the same time. It's about understanding that those two parts of you, the twin individual, they have their own internal, external that they focus on. And you're the center point. You are literally in the middle of everything. You are seeing both sides, but you grow so tightly to the ego. You hold so tightly to the external, the physical reality of things, the catalyst rather than the reasoning, right? You pay attention to the cause, the effect, excuse me, rather than the cause, that you're unable to see it. Balance is everything. That's how this world operates. And it's actually so important because the world is neutral. The everything that happens is neutral. Everything happens just because it has to. There was a cause for it. There was a reason for it to happen. You might not be in control of that reason. You might not overstand or be okay with that reason, but it happened. Everything is neutral. You're in the decider's position to say if you like it or not. This is where people begin to split up and say all these things. This is how they, use buzzwords to get you to stay with one political side or the other, or buy one product rather than the other, rather than it being all the same, right? Everything is just neutral. It's all the same. Nothing new is happening. Nothing new is under the sun. And it's just a fact of how much they can pull on one side of you or not. How much they can say, I agree with this, but hate this. Or if I agree with this, that means I have to hate that. All those things, all that bullshit that people have to do. You need to know for yourself what you agree with and what you don't agree with. But what you don't need to do is to project this ideology of it's my way or the highway to other people, because it's your way or the highway for yourself. You know what I mean? It's you and your ego that's saying that. And the higher way is the spiritual side. The hard way is the ego. And you're needing to see that. You need to rationalize with that and break that down internally. Not to break it down so it affects your external, but break it down so you can digest it more. You need to digest those things. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as eating food. You got to break it down to digest it. But it's people don't talk about this stuff. And a lot of people might not know about it. Some people hold it back because it's like, oh well, you're not. Oh yeah, the book on duality I have. I'm making a third one. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to duality, non-conflict, non-engagement. Well, that's the thing. Because even an inaction is an action. You know what I mean? You can either have action or inaction, but there's no such thing as taking zero action. Because even your act of not doing something is going to allow something to happen. It's just being okay with that circumstance, being okay with the consequences or the consequences that happen after that fact. You know what I mean? So like even if like let's say someone's getting in a fight and you decide not to jump in and break up the fight. Well, now your consequence is watching someone get the shit beat out of them and you're not enjoying it because it's like, well, why am I sitting here watching that? You know what I mean? Like that's what's going on. Um so it's very important to realize that. It's very important to understand that like even though you don't take an action, that's still an action in the grand scheme of things. That's the karma. Because again, people don't understand. People want to say that when karma happens, if you do something bad happens to you. Not necessarily, because you don't do anything bad. You wouldn't do anything if you declared to be bad. You have a reason to do that thing. Your ego gratifies and gives you justice and gives you full reasoning of why you should do that. Oh, someone broke into your house, so you shot them. Well, they broke into my house. I shot them. I didn't know what they were going to do. That's your reasoning for why you did that. Does that mean it's bad? Not for you because you deemed it good. Is it bad for the person that got shot? Probably because they got fucking shot. You know what I mean? It's not the fact that it's good or bad. It's the fact that you need to understand that all actions you do are for the betterment of yourself. But that consequence, that sequences of cons, the sequences of events that go against your main action, are the karma that you have to deal with, are the side effects that you now have to deal with. Not the fact that else is getting hurt, it's the fact that you're now witnessing your own effect of what you've done. What are some good ways we can find balance and alignment? Knowing yourself, not listening to other people's opinions. It's okay to have mentors, it's okay to have gurus and to have helpers, but don't take their advice like fully. You know what I mean? Allow them to guide you. Don't follow anyone. Don't be a follower. You don't need to be a follower. You need to be a leader of your life. Don't even be a follower of yourself. Be a leader of your own life. Take advice from people, and digest it the way that you can. Live your life the way that you're desiring to, but understand that it's not just you. And some people are gonna overstand what you know on a lesser or greater value, maybe even on the same, and that's perfectly fine. They might overstand it in a different demographic. They might overstand it in a different religious text, but they get the gist of it. They'll say different words that mean the same thing. Don't be so focused on the physical to get the balance. A lot of people are already so focused on the physical that they don't have that balance. And if you're too focused on the spiritual, too focused on not doing anything or hoping and having that faith aspect, you need to focus more on the physical, balancing out what you feel lack of. If you don't feel, if you're not receiving like the rewards that you're wanting, there needs to be more self-worth involved. There needs to be more self-gratitude involved. Less externalizing your benefits. Not saying, well, if I'm not getting X, Y, and Z, then I'm not doing good, I need to stop. And making yourself overwork for those things. Allowing yourself to know that you're doing all you can, and it's all for the best good for yourself, and that there's not much else you can do, unless you know there is, then, of course, do that. But do what you can. Be sure to rest. Make sure that you are balancing, grounding yourself, taking time to talk to yourself, Don't just talk to yourself in your head. Speak out loud. When you're not sure of something, when you have a question, I do it all the time. It's like, I don't know if I should say that. I don't know. Should I do this? Should I do that? I say it out loud instead of in my head. If I say it in my head, the only person that can really digest and let me know that is my ego, is my inner self. And it has its own way of being. I already know because it's my inner being. I already know. Same thing for you all, right? If you say it out loud, you hear yourself. You hear the reverberations of it. And you don't know if you're talking to anyone or not. You might visually not see anyone, but internally you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know that there's no one out there. You're saying it so someone has to hear it. That internal self. Now you're able to understand, well, do I need to do this? Is this actually worth what I'm doing? Why did I even say these things out loud? It's questioning that part of it, so you can actually digest and understand, like, well, the reason why I'm doing is because XYZ, and I feel like it's the right thing I need to do, rather than just thinking about it. And that's the thing, people are so caught up in the thought process of doing things instead of like actually taking an action. That action can just be vocalizing it, you know what I mean? A lot of people think that action has to be something physical. Action can just be vocal, you know what I mean? And that's the same thing with physical abuse. Physical abuse doesn't always mean someone like putting hands on you. It's abuse that's happening on the physical. It can be seen and felt with your senses, and all senses is being seen, right? It's visual abuse, is what physical abuse really is. And visual how? Audio can be visual. Verbal abuse is still a form of physical abuse because it's happening on that physical realm. When you can verbally abuse yourself, you can physically abuse yourself, right? All these things internally, but it's with the form that they're in. Didn't we shift into another timeline already? Some people did, some people didn't. Some people do, some people don't. Even though, so here's the thing with the collective conscious, there is the collective conscious that has its own set, and then you have your individual consciousness. So even though in the collective, in the grand scheme of things, a new dimension, a new timeline may have been created, not everyone is caught up to that on an individual scale. So they're living in it, but they're not actualizing it. They're not putting any form of energy or action into it. They're still operating off the old systems. They're still operating off the old timelines and stuff. So even though we're all here together, we're not all here consciously. And that's the big dilemma with a lot of people, where they're like, oh, we're in this new dimension and everyone else is still doing all these things, because they just aren't on that energy yet. They're not there. They haven't reached that point of consciousness yet, which is fine. They'll reach it when they have to. They'll reach it when they decide to, whenever it's their time to. But collectively, we're there because if they weren't here collectively, they wouldn't be here within the collective. They wouldn't be here within the spirit, within the flesh at all. They simply just wouldn't exist because they wouldn't have a reason to be here. They would be void. They would be on their own. They would be a singularity, and singularities don't exist. They don't. Even when people say like, oh well, God's the only one. Well, how is God the only one? God had the voice, and the voice was God. That's a thought. That's God thinking, I'm going to do this. And then boom, that thought became the reality. That's what it's showing you. So there was an invisible force. There was that word that was spoken, that word that was created, but that word wasn't out. It was internal. That's the first part, the invisible. And then it became. And then he said, let there be X, Y, Z. And then it began to create. But first was that invisible, that first thought, that idea, that fire. The parade of planets, it is time technically with the parade of planets. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is going to realize, rationalize, or make it to that point, right? Though we'll see the signs, right? The few will see the signs and understand what they mean and be able to digest them. Not everyone's going to be able to. That's why you have messengers who should be speaking about these things, that should be being able to teach on higher levels and say all these things. Though it's time, remember, time is matter. Time is father. Father time. Matter is father. Time is father. Anything external, anything that gauges a measurement would be external, because you need a ruler. It goes deep. What is a ruler, right? Well, a ruler is like, you think of a king or a queen or someone on the physical, someone sitting on a throne. What is a throne? Well, a throne is a place to sit of high stature. That's like masonry, a stone, a brick, all these things. Even though that it's time, if you're not there in the spiritual with the physical, if that disconnect between the mother and father is there and you're only focusing on that time, you're not there. You're still in the realm of time. It's a time for spirit. You know what I mean? It's a time for mother. It's not time for the father anymore. It's time for spirit to evolve. It always has been time for spirit to evolve. But the signs are showing itself by saying time's running out. Father's about to leave. Father's no longer going to be in control. Time's not going to be that restraint. It's now going to be up to mother, because we've moved away from that masculine energy of needing things, needing an external action, and moving towards an era where we're being more internal again. This is how the pyramids and things were built. We had the God inside of us awakened already. The ancients knew this. The ancients knew how to awaken the God in himself. The ancients already had the God within themselves awakened to do all the things that they've done. We've digressed to progress again, right? We need to reach that level again. So even though time's running out and that's getting us, fearful and all these things, and people are running back to religion and going to spirituality and all these things, that's the starting point. This is where things start to become more spiritual, overstanding things, delving deeper into the meanings of things, not just defining things by their physical outlook, by the material outlook, by defining them by what they're actually trying to convey, by what the soul is trying to say, but by the spirit is trying to say, whichever spirit is speaking and whichever spirit is moving, right? And that's what we're talking about when we see the parade of planets, even though that does signify, again, like the time, and that's like the new earth and everything, and that's for the new heaven to be created. All those things and all the signs and the invasions that we've been having, the sightings we've been having, all the natural events we've been having, all those things are lining up just to show you, and those who like can feel those changes and are awakened to those changes, or it's a call just to be more focused on self, not to be focused about the external. Now that those events are happening, it shouldn't cause you fear. It should cause you relief. Okay, good. These things are happening. It was already prophesied that things are happening. I now know what I need to do to make sure I can make it off this planet when that happens. Now I know how to save myself, because now that there's some form of proof external, now your ego can grab onto that. That fear might be there, but now you're like, oh, well, since that's happening, let me just go ahead and do these things. Whether that's whatever religion, whatever faith, whatever you're following, doesn't matter, as long as you're allowing the base definition rules that are happening, that are being shown within the scriptures, that are being shown within the religious texts. As long as you're following those base rules and not worrying about the semantics in there, you're going to be fine, right? And that's just really what there's talking about when it comes down to that point. But it needs to go through this fear chamber, this it needs to go through the chakras again, basically. It needs to start at the bottom and then build up. It needs to start at the root and cause you all this fear to then see your power and then create your new life and then act from your heart space all the way up, right? What would the study of the universal laws do for us now? Betterment of life. It's not really going to change much. The universal laws have always existed and always will exist. It's just the fact that when you're studying them, you'll be more aware of them. You'll see them at play. When you understand the astrology with these signs being the symbolisms of the signs and the planets that they relate to, rather than like the Greek mythology stories. You don't need to read the mythology of the planets. You need to know their actual rules, what they stand for, what images they use. Go back. Because again, like with Scorpio, a Scorpio symbol is a phoenix. It's not what it is now. It's not that thing. It's not the scorpion. It's not that. It's a phoenix. It's a rebirth. It's the fire going from, it's the fire and water sign. You know what I mean? The Gemini, the twins, the two parts of consciousness, the male and the female, right? Aquarius, the man bearing water, man bearing wisdom, man bearing the feminine nature, the spirituality, the overstanding, the wisdom of it, right? All these things, the symbolisms are there. It's just about overstanding them. So it help you just know yourself more, know the parts of you that are being enacted, that are being active. But definitely study the universal laws, study all the laws within like the universe, study the laws of energy, the laws of cause and effect, all these things, because they exist, and it's not something that you can just make up and run with. I mean, you can, but it's not going to get you very far. It's going to cause a lot of confusion. These laws exist already. They can't be changed. They can be understood in deeper ways. They can be rediscovered, but they can't be destroyed. They can't be rewritten. They've already been stated. All that can happen is a better understanding through personal experience with them. That's why I don't really get when people start saying that someone's sending someone energy or someone's trying to steal your energy. It can't be. It can't be created nor destroyed. You can't create something to do that unless that already exists within that person. So if you already have inside of yourself, I can't get energy stolen from me because it's my energy, and my energy won't resonate with them because of different frequencies. No one can do that. If you understand that if you just say no, and that no is a strong boundary point, then it's not going to happen. If you understand your own power at that point with how energy works, knowing that you are an energetic being with both a positive and a negative charge, a charge that can receive and give, as long as you're not giving any other energy other than what you're desiring, that attention, it can't do anything to you. A lot of people get that mixed up. A lot of people want to try and test that and be like, well, I'm going to do this, this, and that to someone, right? That's all based on what's going on. And then again, like not only that, but then we have the galactical laws, the angelic laws that govern the other beings rather than just us, because we're governed not only by the 3D laws apparently, but we're governed by the laws of the universe. And then the angels have their own laws, and then the Galactic Council has their own laws, and then further and further and further, they all have their own regulations that they have to follow. So it has to go through all these systems and get funneled down to you, who's at the bottom, but really in the middle of it, because once it hits you, it spreads out the other way, and it goes back down to the angels, back down to the councils, all the way back to the top, and it just cycles back again. That's the whole like torus field image, basically. But that's what's going on with just energy and stuff. Like people don't really grasp these concepts or meditate on them as much as they should, at least. And it's not like do or die, of course, but for one person to say that they are a guru or even dare call themselves an alchemist, they need to understand the laws of energy. They need to understand the laws of the elements. You can, if someone says they're an alchemist, ask them what the order of the elements are. And if they do not say fire, water, air, earth, they're not right. They're not an alchemist. They don't understand the definitions of alchemy. Can people have damaged auras? That I'm not too sure of. I don't study too much on auras. I used to be able to see them. I wouldn't say that they would be damaged though. I could say that they could be dimmed. But the only reason why an aura would be dimmed was because of you, because of something inside of you that's dimming it. You know, the light comes from within. You have that aura and it radiates outwards from you. Where is that light source? From within. Those colors are all within that individual, and whatever is happening is going external, right? So it's not the fact that it can be damaged, it's the mind that's damaging, it's the mind that's damaged, excuse me, and that's keeping the light from perpetuating the way it needs to, being as bright as it needs to, being the exact vibrance or the exact color that it needs to, right? People, when people say that someone's poking holes in your aura, or that someone's sending you that, like, you know, death magic or all those things, they're playing off of a weakness you already have internally, and that's the only reason why people can do these things. This is why you need we're gonna break it down real good. This is why people always have to get divination before doing something to someone, because they don't know who the fuck they're messing with. It doesn't matter what you see on the physical, it matters about what's up here. And when you get divination, when you do readings with tarot cards, it's all about the psyche, the mind, how the mind is interacting. And you have to know that person's mentality. If that person has a flaw in their mentality that they're not working through, which you can find your flaws in mentality through your astrology, through your astrological charts and stuff, and seeing what happens with there and stuff, right? But if you don't know that person mentally, you can't do shit to them. That's why so many people are like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, and then like they start doing magic on people and nothing works, because you don't know that person mentally. And then half the people that do read those cards don't understand that it's something about mental. They don't understand that tarot cards hold the secret to the mind. And that's why they were invented by the gypsies, to keep their secrets alive, to keep them from being eliminated, to keep their way of life alive in some form or fashion. Though it's been bastardized and made a mockery in recent times, it's not going to be for long. Not until, you know, if I'm alive, it ain't going to be, because I'm going to be one of the people to make sure that this stuff goes back to its roots, so that people can remember and understand that this is about the mind, the psyche of an individual and how they operate. If you want to do divination, throw some bones, get some animal bones and throw some bones, get something that had an actual spirit in it. Bones, do nature divination, fuck, do candle wax divination. You have the fire that is doing something, do water divination, do something else. The cards aren't going to tell you that much other than what the person's doing. Now if someone just learns how to read the cards differently, or they're using they're channeling, which is not divination, that's channeling, which is allowing a spirit to come to you and tell you, which some people use tarot cards to help them channel, which is why you get all these other messages. Even though that can help, if you don't understand what those cards actually mean, rather than what the face value of hearing the death or tower and just thinking it's one thing or another, or the lovers, you think that's a relationship or like an external love. If you're not internalizing it and understanding what those cards actually mean, you're not going to give the right message out. That's why so many messages are like fear-based, and someone's doing this and someone's doing that, and then they go, but don't worry because you're protected. If you're so protected, then why did you need to tell them all this stuff? You didn't. All that stuff's irrelevant. All that stuff happens day to day. The fact that they're focusing their energy on that is showing what side they're actually playing for. And even though they might not want to admit it, it's in the cards. It's what they're saying. It's the words. A lot of people fall for that glamour spell that people have, or the, you know, oh, they have a lot of numbers, they must be good. That doesn't mean anything. You know, especially on YouTube. Half the people that are subscribed could be bots, and the other half of people don't even watch the videos. You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with numbers. It has to do with the actual spirit, the actual energy that's being around it, right? And if one is going to involve themselves within negativity, within the energy of continuously giving and giving and giving, of course they're going to have that type of reach, that type of number, that type of physical outlook on it, because they're giving too much and they're not receiving anything. What they're doing is they're just giving what they believe, their point of view, their overstanding to a point, and not the actual true definition of what's the root of it is, you know? This is the whole thing. Energy can't be created nor destroyed, only transmuted. Tarot cards were just created to transmute the knowledge from the internal to an external point of view, and it hasn't been switched back to internal ever since that happened in like the 1700s, whenever the European housewives made it their parlor games. I am currently actually writing a book. I'm writing a lot of books. I do a lot. I do too much. That's my issue. That's my issue. I do so much. I have a lot of books already that talk about some of this stuff, but I haven't made a book about the specific stuff I'm talking about now. I do talk about it quite a lot. I do like mention it all the time in certain things. I used to do readings and then throw this stuff in the middle of it, and then I switched from that just to talking about it and doing other things. But I need to make a book about it. So thank you for reminding me about that. Abuse can cause misalignment. It can. It's so this is the part that I see and I overstand where I can get backlash for talking about the things I talk about the way I do, because things do happen on the physical. You can be abused. You can be hurt by someone else on the physical. All that stuff is real, right? I'm not declining on that. I've never in my life said it, but people will assume just by the way I speak about it, right? And that's perfectly fine. They can keep that. I mean, that's not what I'm doing here. All that stuff's real. It happens. But what happens deeper than that is that internal grasping point. That internal, what did I do to deserve this, right? And the ego going, you didn't deserve anything. You didn't do anything to deserve that. And this is where the shadow work, the root work really gets deep. Because even though your ego is going to tell you that you didn't do anything to deserve that, even though you might not overstand that, there was always a sign that you needed to see. And this is where the divine steps back. This is where the divine no longer presses on you to go any deeper. They wait for you to go to the divine. They wait for you to go to the heart space, to take time to really meditate and look deeper into these things, because it's a sensitive topic to talk about. It really is. It's a rough one to talk about, but so many people don't talk about it because they're afraid of backlash or saying something wrong. And it's like, you have to really be careful with it, right? Regardless, when you go through an event of abuse, no matter what it is, you were always receiving a sign. There was a feeling, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. This isn't right for me. Or you seen something that really irked you on the way there, and you're like, I don't really need to be around this. I don't need to really be doing this. I should have just, stay home or do something else. You received that sign, but something inside of you told you to ignore it, and you followed that voice instead. And the divine only wants you to see that that sign was given, even though it might not be fully remembered, even though it might not have been fully acknowledged. It was given to you, and this is your free will when it comes in. Your ego doesn't want you to have free will. Your ego wants you to follow what's best for your physical, what's going to be best for your fleshly desires, rather than the actual true protection. It's I need to talk about that on a video as well. But again, it's a topic that you have to be very careful with, because a lot of people have gone through a lot of things. Whether it's sexual abuse, physical abuse, all sorts of things, right? It's difficult. My website to get the books. I don't have a website yet. Email me, and I will send you the books that I have, and the email should be in the description. I need to like make a pin with all this stuff. What do you think about out of place dreams? They know it's a glitch. Freeze are very dark and search for concepts. Dreams are always going to show you a part of yourself. Dreams are just you talking to the subconscious part of you. No matter if you're seeing people or animals or wherever you're at, even if you don't recognize the location where you're at, it all has a deeper meaning. Shamans and gypsies and way back, the ancestors, the ancients that we had and came from, they knew these things. They understood that even though you have these crazy dreams, or you have dreams about people that you haven't seen before, it's something about them. It's an interaction you have with them that internally you're holding on to. When you're having dreams about things freezing and glitching up, that's a sign of fear holding you back from something. That's a sign of something that you're needing to do, that you're stalling on. When you're in an out of place dream, you're in an area, an energy, you're doing something right now, or you're about to, that you're not really sure of how to move forward. You're not sure how to digest where you're moving. All these things have deeper meanings. I forgot the website. Do I even have the website here? Because there's a website that is really good for dream interpretations. It has a lot of them. I don't know if I even have it still. I think it's this. It is this. Yes, it is. Okay, good. I immediately found it. Let's go. If you're needing to know more about dreams, this is definitely a good site to go through. But I've studied dreams like forever. I've I am huge. Like, at this point, you can just call me a gypsy. I'm trying to learn how to read constellations. I'm going through like a gypsy initiation in my life. Basically, I'm learning the ancient secrets of things because I they don't go wrong. They allow you to see, they show you, they allow you to understand these things. You know, these are what the gypsies went through. They knew this. And then after the gypsies and they got disrupted, then the shamans came in with the Indians. And then after the Native Americans, I should say, or however, right? Whenever the shamans disappeared, now we have the gurus. And then the gurus got, you know, disappeared and got exiled and all these things. And now we have modern day stuff that's not getting to the root value. It's been passed through so many generations, through many different religions, ethnicities, styles, and ways of being that it's convoluted and no one really can get down to the group point because we're not spiritualizing it. We're too busy looking externally. Can you have a continuation of dreams? Yes. When you have repeated dreams, you're not getting the message that it's showing you. I used to I used to have a dream about playing red light, green light at my babysitter's house when I was like 7 years old, and I had it for months on end. And every fucking time I had this dream, I would move when it said red light, and then a demon would come out of the ground, dip me in a cauldron of lava, and eat me. And I would wake up in cold sweats. And that's what really got me looking into dreams, because I didn't know what the fuck that meant. And it turns out I was just afraid of making a wrong move as a child. I didn't want to mess up, and it really made a lot of sense because even looking back at my childhood, I had to go to school a year late because of my birthday. Just October babies couldn't go to fucking school because apparently I wasn't of age, so I was 1 year older than everyone in my class basically, and I was always like, don't tell anyone I said this, or don't be mad that I said this, or I was always second guessing what I said because I didn't want to be mean. Like I remember the first time I did that too. Damn. That was rude as fuck of me too. I no wonder I told people not to say anything. Damn. No, but there was this teacher that we had, and her name was Miss Puckett, and it was my first day in school. And tell me why I said to someone, I said, "What's that teacher's name?" And they go, "Her name's Miss Puckett." I said, "Oh, she looks like a bucket." And I froze up and said, "Don't tell anyone I said that." And they said, "No, we're not going to, don't worry." Like, it was one of the kindergartner classmates I have. That I was like, I don't even know. And I had those dreams on repeat for a while. Like, I was just afraid to make a wrong move. I was afraid just to do that stuff. It was just crazy. But like, repeated dreams just are trying to show you something that you're not seeing. So pay attention to the people, the places, the things, the colors. If you see like a gigantic green shoe, that means there's a new beginning that is happening. Green is new. Green is the beginning. But that gigantic shoe is showing you that it's a thing that you can't fill in. You need to put your foot in. What is your feet used for? Walking. What do you wear shoes for? Protection. There's something that you're about to walk into that you're needing to level up for. You need to fit the shoe. You might not feel like you can. You might have self-confidence issues when it comes to starting something new, but you're about to do it. It's something grand. It's something that you want to do. Right? Especially if you walk into a place and you're picking an item out, pay attention to the items that you pick out because that's showing you what you're about to do, what you're choosing to do subconsciously, the color, the object, everything, the actions, the way you feel in the dreams, all these things. Even though you might not be able to remember all of it, which is the complicated part about dream journaling and stuff, just getting into a practice of dream journaling and getting into a practice of writing it down and helping yourself remembering it, telling yourself before you sleep, I am going to remember my dreams, help me remember my dreams, I want to remember my dreams, all these things, doing that consciously, and then allowing yourself to drift off with that conscious thought being enabled will help you remember dreams more. But again, these are literally arts that we don't do anymore. We forgot how to. We become too external. We haven't become actually spiritual when it comes down to things, and it's difficult. We have to relearn how to do it. You know what I mean? It's like you don't do something for so long. Some people can hop back into it immediately and run off with it. Some people need some extra training. Some people need to learn the whole thing over again, right? It just depends on who you are and how involved your past bloodlines were, your past ancestors were with those things. Right? This is the whole point of being a generational curse breaker, is figuring out what's the lack in life And how did that lack happen? That lack happened because how are you thinking? Well, if you don't feel confident in yourself, that lack that you're receiving is happening because of a self-confidence issue that's been passed down through generations, morphing and changing your DNA and creating who you are today. Your amalgamation of everything, internal and external, right? Because the only way for things to be changed for most people these days, the way they realize it and actualize it, is from the external. So once you take it to the internal, instead of projecting it back externally again, take it from the internal and solve it there. Yeah, you can use your dreams for tools for the emotional state as well. Especially like if you're having dreams about people from your past, right? And even if you're not interacting with them, if let's say you have a dream from about a friend you had in middle school, and you haven't talked to this person in forever, what was your interaction with them like? Did you enjoy them? How did you all split up? How, like, did you all stop being friends for a minute? Did you all fight? Did you all have fun? Whatever feeling, whatever emotion is attached to that individual, pay attention to that and their actions they're taking in that dream and how you're feeling about those actions in the dream, right? If you have someone coming at you and trying to assault you in a dream, that's because whoever that individual represents or reminds you of, it has that power, has a force over top of you where you're afraid to do something due to them. Maybe you're afraid of stepping out and being authentic because that individual, you've given that person too much of a pedestal in your life, and they now dictate how you're going to act or how you're going to be living your life, you know. If you're attacking someone else, it's you taking your power back from the individual, no longer being afraid, no longer being beaten up or under that pressure of that individual, and overcoming that. That doesn't mean you're necessarily wanting to hurt them or wanting to hurt anyone around them. You're just taking your power back from whatever source, whatever energy that is. If you're having dreams of, you know, getting beat up or beating up goddesses and gods, look at what that goddess or god represents, and then you'll see like what you're battling with internally as well. And dreams are different than astral projection. Those are two different things in a nutshell. So if you're astral projecting and you're seeing things, even though that's going to show you your inner demons, it's a different field than dream reading. Because when you astral project, I mean, it's a whole different thing. That's you going out of your body and experiencing things rather than going within, right? That's why it's called projection, projecting to the astrals. Oh, continuation of the dream. What do you mean by that? By the time actually passed? Like you have a dream about something happening in like real time or something? Explain that a little bit more. I'm kind of confused by the way you're presenting that. Cause I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. I don't know. But yeah, your dreams are, they'll always show you something. If you are talking about um like you having a dream and then it happening, that's more of a vision. That's more of a not a prophetic vision, because prophecies need to be written down in order for them to be prophecies. What you're experiencing at then is clairvoyance, is being able to see before things happen, right? Prophets have clairvoyance, but they also have the ability to write down and stuff. Oh, okay. So like you have a dream and you don't have it for a while, you have it again, and it's a different energy. It's in a different area. It's showing you a change of that environment that that dream is representing. So let's say you have a dream about going, because I mean I used to have these dreams all the time. I know what you're talking about now. I'd have so many dreams about my childhood house, and then I'd leave. I'd go back, and there'd be like my mom would be there, and my dad would be there, even though they're passed away. And then I'd have the dream a little bit later, and then no one would be there. My sisters and stuff would be there. It's just showing you who's taking space within that time, what energies are actually involving themselves with you, right? That when things are disappearing and adding themselves within dreams during like further durations of stuff, it's just showing you the time lapse that you've gone through. Maybe you've healed from something. Maybe you've done the shadow work and something new has appeared, right? So one object's removed and a new one's put there. It's just showing you different ways that you've moved on. Why are you asking me for this? Go away. Sorry. My phone just wants me to verify my Apple account for some reason. I don't want to. Regardless, it's that's what it's trying to show you is a progression. Oh my god, I can't even speak. A progression of it or a degression depending on what's going on with it. But paying attention to those as well, especially if it is of like a house or something, because house is, that's your safety, that's your comfort zone, that's your protection, that's like your vessel basically. It's just showing you like who's occupying, what energy's occupying, what's going on in those areas, how is it morphing, how is it changing, all these things. But I mean, definitely if you need to check out that dreams dictionary, because it will definitely tell you a lot about what's going on with dreams, like different actions and things of that nature. I've used the site a few times to help me with my own dreams, because even though I'm still learning and stuff with it, so it's I use it as a good reference, and it's really helped me understand things. I don't take it for its base definition either. I take it and I apply it to what I can get. If it doesn't sound like it's right, or it doesn't seem like it's there, because it has multiple examples of it as well. Sometimes you got to mix and match it. Sometimes you get the puzzle pieces for your problem and you got to put them together, right? No problem. We're here to share. We're here to share that stuff. I mean, that part of like that's the thing. If someone's gonna be in the position of like wanting to be like a teacher, whether that's spiritual or whatever, you at least need to have resources to give to people. Don't be a gatekeeper. If you're trying to help people heal, you better heal yourself and stop trying to hide stuff from people. That's my big motto with it. If I find something, I'm gonna share it with people. You know. A lot of times I just do a lot of deep meditations, but like if I ever get like a resource and stuff, I do my best to share it. I mean, we even have a playlist of like meditations and stuff. um I think it's called Spiritual Help. I can't remember, but if you go to the playlist, you have that stuff. Yeah, your sanctuary is your home. Home is where the heart is, always. And the only thing that occupies your heart is the divine. So really, your home is where the divine is, and there are divine is always within. Yeah, that's astral projection. That's different than dreams. What you're talking about there is astral projection, not dreams. You could also just be experiencing uh, uh no, that is just astral projection, never mind. Noticing when people are able to like when you have like a certain control over your dreams, you can change the state of it, because the dream is just a different realm. A dream is just a deeper state of your inner consciousness. When you're astral projecting, you're able to interact with the realm even more, because you're projecting yourself. You're projecting what you're desiring to do externally out there. You're not just following what the dream is making you do. The same thing as we have people doing stuff. You've had those dreams where you don't really have control over yourself and you're just kind of moving around and you don't know what's going on. It's the same thing on the physical. We have people that are just doing stuff, not knowing what they're doing, and then we have people that are very aware. Same thing for the dream state in the astral realms. You have the same AIs, the same robots, the same people not knowing what they're doing, and then you have the people that are consciously manipulating the realms where they're at. So learning to control your dreams more is what you need to do at that point. But yeah, that's what we got right now for it. Um, any other questions? I don't know what to talk about anymore. I think I've pretty much talked about it. Think of what? It is fascinating. It's very interesting. the way that the realms work, the way that our minds work, the way that the whole algorithm that we're in works is very interesting. But being aware as well, for the astral projectors out there that know this, be careful when you astral project. Don't be doing crazy shit, because you will get you. There are police, there are guardians within the astral realm that will restrict you. Yeah, that's what you're describing there is a form of sleep paralysis. Whenever you're seeing something before you're about to, when your brain enters that REM area, but you're not fully asleep and you're just dozing off, you can have those types of moments where you have sleep paralysis. And at that point, if you're able to tell yourself like, hey, don't do this, or I'm just not going to do this, or however, it goes away. This is why a lot of people don't really go towards astral projection, because they'll get stuck within their lower chakras. They'll get stuck within the sleep paralysis phase of things, and they won't be able to move on from that. As well as sleep paralysis being a scary thing, but you do have control over it. They're coming to you. You can tell them not to do anything. I've had many encounters with entities where I've had sleep paralysis, and I've been like, I don't want to deal with you. I don't like, you're not gonna come here. You're not gonna bother me. Just go away. Like, I'm gonna go to sleep, or I'm gonna like wake up, or however. Right? You have that control of yourself. All you need to do is have that mental control, because your soul is still connected to yourself. When you're out there, your soul has that tether, and it's coming back to yourself. The only way it will come back to yourself is if you get that adrenaline, that fear. And even though sometimes it will be put in your body, sometimes it slams so hard back into your vessel that you go into a state of shock, which is that paralysis. So that is a form of sleep paralysis that you were experiencing when it comes to that. Seeing any form of like entity within that brainwave area, that brainwave state, is paralysis. Where is my phone? I gotta go get a tissue because my nose is running. I'll be back in a second. Ugh. All right, I'm back. Yeah, you can find your dreams. Flying in your dreams is a really good sign of freedom. But if you're doing it on if you're consciously doing it, then that's even better. Um, it's always good to move quietly. Um, don't always let people know all your business. That's like a big like protection tip, because whenever you begin to tell people like your plans and things, the fact that they'll doubt you can change how you feel about your projects and what you're trying to do. Hmm. I'm not too sure about the black mist over your face, but practice controlled breathing. Definitely practice controlled breathing, because you won't leave this realm unless it's your time. This is, that's the stated fact, and your body will always consciously breathe. There's Well, subconsciously breathe, even that's part of the process of your system, your internal system. So it is a fear that people have to work through, but work on conscious breathing, work on like doing like breathing techniques and things of that nature to trust yourself. Practice like um small cases of diving deep within yourself. Your body will have certain things that will make you alert. Whenever you snore, or have like sleep apnea moments where you'll wake up and things of that nature, your body will do that naturally. But definitely practice like conscious breathing with that, and it should help with that fear of that, as well as calling on your guides, whoever you need, your ancestors, your angels, to help you and be by you when you're doing that. Is going to help you, because it does have to do a lot with your nerves. It's not to necessarily protect the experience, but to allow the experience to encase you, not to change you, but to allow you to be more mature. And maturity isn't with the age or the external, the maturity comes from the soul. So when you're experiencing all these weird things, is to show you the deeper parts of yourself. You know, the truth will get very weird very quick, but it gets almost comical about how weird it is. It becomes, I don't know, it kind of like morphs into when you really start digging deeper into yourself, when you experience with these weird things. But don't let the experiences that you go through change you for better or for worse. You need to overstand those lessons, so that you know, don't let any outside force control you, truly. Even if it is like something that you deem positive or good, because you're still giving that power, the energy to that thing. And if that doesn't happen anymore, it's now going to tell yourself, your internal system that you've created, oh, well, since this didn't happen, then something XYZ, something bad's going to happen, or the opposite's going to happen, or you know, something like that. Mind creates reality. It's so interesting the way it works, because once you understand that your mind, your thoughts create your reality, you now have to delve into the aspect of your feelings are the currency that fuel your thoughts, right? That's the next realm to delve into once you understand that. And not a lot of people will delve into that point, right? So what you're doing, um, is you're feeling things, and you won't do something if you don't feel like doing it. You can't put a thought into full action on the external unless it has some sort of currency, which is what your ego will try and get you to do. Like, oh, now you have to do this because XYZ, or you know, you have to panic about this because XYZ, or you have to be mad because you disagree, or whatever's going on with that. But you won't take any sort of further action until you have that currency. So let that feeling fuel those thoughts, instead of those thoughts creating those feelings, to create a better output, to create a better reality for yourself. How do you deal with years of emotional pain and abuse to heal? Focus on, well, we're gonna talk about I'll bring you to the root of it, and then I'll talk about the other steps. But the root of it is to figure out the cause. What caused that emotional pain? What caused that abuse? Right? What is causing that feeling, that thought that you're having? What's causing it to make you notice that you need to heal from it, right? Working with that. And the best way to work with that is, what events did you go through? And once you go through the events, that you can write them down on a list even too, like, you know, have something like a visual thing, or if you can do it in your mind, do it in your mind as well, you know, do it however you need to. Look at what you've gone through, and when you look at those things, see at the exact point. Are we back? Okay, we're back. Okay, we're back. We're back. All right, cool, nice. I love when that happens. It happens all the time. Oh God. But when you make that list, figure out what made you change where. You know, if you were physically abused, how did that make you change? But on what internal configurations did you change to, right? If you went through emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, all these things, how did it change you? And when you figure out the effect of what happened, now you can go back to the cause. This made me feel this way. So there was a part of me that was making me feel this way before, but it happened externally. Even though it doesn't always make the most sense at the first point, or is easy to digest, starting with that point, starting with the I had an issue with the way I was feeling internally and an external. If you were verbally abused, or like, oh, you're annoying, don't talk, all these things, it's because something inside of you is restricting yourself from speaking. You're telling yourself, oh, people won't care about this, people won't, you know notice if I speak about these things, and then that becomes that external projection that then creates the internal, the internal configuration that creates the external projection. Oh my god, I'm getting tongue twisted. Oh my gosh. That's not just shadow work, that's the root work too. Because shadow work is getting and grasping why the cause of things. I don't feel comfortable in my skin, so let me heal that. I don't feel comfortable speaking on things, so let me look at that. The root work is getting down to the cause. Why don't you feel those ways? Well, because I kept telling myself these things, and then something on the external reality that I seen gave my ego a reason to say, see what I mean, look, now they didn't do it, now they didn't like when you said that, you didn't get the exact response that you wanted, so now you gave yourself that gratification that one part of you needed, and that's that rational side, the ego point, the part that's looking on the physical for a reason, right, rather than looking into the internal, the divine, the heart space for the reason. Always. You can always ask me questions. Like, asking me a question in my emails don't cost anything. You know what I mean? I'll answer questions, but if you're looking for the services, they're there. I'm writing more books. I gotta write more books. I have to. I'll be getting on that here soon. I've just literally, like, my main focus has been on the tarot classes and getting the presentations done, but I'm gonna need to switch it up. Let me see. Was it in a dream micro trip, or was it like in the physical? Because I'm just now seeing that I had to refresh my YouTube, and not all the comments are there anymore. Exactly, Kristen. The root work helps for self forgiveness, because you can, and this is the whole thing. There's a difference between accepting and loving. And a lot of people don't get that. I've met a few people that I'll say accepting is different than loving. They're like, I guess, but from the physical, oof, yeah. I mean, shit. At that point, I'm glad. Like, fuck being chipped. That's awful. But when you accept things, it just means that you're okay with it. You've come to an agreement with it. You have to love. When, like, your atoms, if your atoms just agreed with each other, they would just have to disagree. If you moved your arm like that and one atom was like, no, I don't want to move that way, I don't agree with that, it just pop out and your whole body would deform, right? But it's the fact that they love each other, they're connected, they're conjoined, they know that they have to be there, they have that unconditional support, that they'll just do it. They have the reasoning from the divine to do it. They're using the divine's fuel, right? Mmm. We're okay, so that's interesting, because we'll talk about this now. In the astral realms and in the dream realms, you can get arrested, you can get chipped, because those are where the archons can really be at. Especially if you're astral projecting, be careful of archons, because you'll be up in their realm. You'll be in the realm of being able to get blocked spiritually, and then having that blockage in the spiritual come towards you on the physical. When you astral project, you definitely can take things back with you. That's why it's important to be in an isolated environment. That's why it's important to have relaxing music, having an atmosphere that makes you comfortable, making so that you are fully comfortable, and as well as working with your chakras before you do astral projection. Because some people will astral project and they'll astral project to the lower realms of it, because some of their chakras will be blocked. And if you're working with your chakras and you astral project, you'll be in the higher realms. You'll be doing that. And it takes time, of course, right? But you can use your dreams and as well your experiences with astral projection to show you what chakras need work on by showing you your limitations, your the feelings that you get and the actions that are taken within those realms. I don't know who that is, Destiny. I do not know who Dr. Nicole is. I'd have to go look them up. I typically don't, honestly, like I don't even look at many people when it comes to spirituality and things of that nature, because it's, again, it's related to the self. So I don't really know many of the big names. I kind of like don't look at them. It's just not like an interest of mine. My interest is more figuring out the concepts of myself, and not in like an ego way, but in a way to transform myself to better relay things that I can understand, better relay things, and be more patient, not only with myself but with others and all these things, right? That definitely could have been a matrix break or something. That could have been something limiting you from seeing the reality around you, seeing through the veil around you. That chip could have been doing that, especially if it was in a dream realm. So you may be having more clear dreams or having more control in your dreams or some sort of nature in that way as well. Always, I'm always here to give perspective. It's like why we're here. You know, there's no need to be ashamed of what you believe, and there shouldn't be a shame of being able to communicate and conversate with people, right? It doesn't have to be a debate or argument. We all have different points. It's just understanding and grasping it. You know, that's what we're here to do. It's not that hard, but it is, if you know what I mean. No, sleep paralysis is awful. But if you can, if but at the same time, you can learn how to control it. I mean, not but and at the same time, you can control it. It just takes practice. It takes patience. It takes working with that chakra, that lower chakras of fear, knowing that you do have the power in you to tell energies and entities that seem to be at you, that are around you, that they can't be there, right? No, the 3D and the 70 are not the at the same level right now. That don't make any sense. The 3D is all about the material. The 70 does not have anything to do with the material. That's where people get things confused, where they're saying that the 5D consciousness is when you're no longer attached to the physical. No, that's the being attached to the physical is a 3D thing. So when you would evolve to the 4D, what, you have not had anything to do with the physical. You know what I mean? Like that's that spiritual mojo jojo that goes around that just confuses people, and it doesn't make any real sense when you start to break it down and realize what you're talking about and how it's correlating, you know? Because the funny thing is we live in a 2D world seeing a 3D illusion. And that 3D illusion is the projection of how we experience things, right? And what we see is 2D, because if we could see in 3D, you would be able to see strictly through me, and you would also be able to see what's through that wall. It would have more dimensions, but it's flat. That's a 2D that's a 2D concept. No, it's not an emotional state. Emotions aren't real. Emotions are a mask that you wear. Emotions is to emote. Emotions is just the energy in motion creating. Ion is the energy that we able to create. It's all mental. We live in a mental reality. And when you take your mental reality and dive deeper into the heart space, which is where the divine is, which is where the feelings are cultivated, not the emotions. Emotions is an external thing. Feelings are an internal. When you're focusing too much on the external, it's not what it is. It's the 3D, right? When you're focusing internally, making the mind internal. That's when you go into deeper dimensions. That's why you go into the 70, 80, 90, 12D, all these other consciousness, because the consciousness doesn't rely up here, it relies in the heart space. The external is not only just the external, it's also the internal, and the internal is also the external. They are symbiotic. There's not just a one. They are the same thing. But when you are working off of the external only, and you're only seeing things as a face value product, which is what the 3D reality does, you don't see the symbology of it. You don't see how it's split up in multiple ways. There's always going to be a pair to it. Even though you're experiencing something on the external, it's coming from the internal. And just because you're experiencing something on the internal means it's coming from you and reflecting back into you. So it's out on the external and on the internal at the same time. We're in the center of it all as the observer. What's the dimension related to the quantum healing? I don't know what the dimension would be for the quantum healing, but diving deeper within the self would be it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. I know what you're talking about. But when people say emotion, that's not a real, you can't have an emotion. You can have emotion, but not emotion. The energy can be in motion, making it, kinetic or passive, because passive is still emotion. It's still a way of moving, right? Even that action of not moving is still moving to some degree because nothing can be completely still, right? But yeah, I get what you're saying. No, there's no such thing as an emotion, dude. Like that is a lie that people like tell you. It's a feeling. The emotion that you're trying to describe is something moving externally. Things can be passive. That's the act of not acting. That's being passive. That's not doing anything. That's being a passive reactive. And the reaction made you passive, which puts you under. Passive doesn't just mean stop, it means to be under. To be active is to be over. Active is moving, passive is being stuck. I don't want you here. I just don't want that individual here. After 3 comments, I was okay. Yeah, you need to jump into that feeling space. People don't understand this stuff. People like say that the world, like, oh, don't listen to your feelings, your heart's broken, all these things. That's not true. It's your mind. It's your mind that's broke. Even the people that they'll go around and say all these things like, oh, well, I don't listen to my feelings. No, you do. You just don't actualize it. You're listening to your heart. Yeah, we're looking at it differently. Of course we are. That's why we're talking about it. But I'm telling you what I know, the depth of it, not just the surface level of things, the actual depth of things. You know, when you see it for face value, sure, energy's emotion, emotion, energy is the E, sure, yeah. When you delve deeper than that, what does it mean? What does it mean for a person to emote? Does that mean what is their energy moving? You know, what is their energy moving? What are they moving under pressure or over pressure? That's what you have to ask. There's reasons for it. Because when it goes into the 3D reality, now you have to deal with depth. Now you're dealing with putting things externally. Now you're in that illusion of being able to push things out. That's why we're able to do things with the mind when we have that higher consciousness. So how are you pushing things away? How are you putting things in the reality? How are you making your order? And that's what's going on with all these things. You need to look at it with more depth, because when you need to externalize it, when you need to express it, or to ship it somewhere, which is expressing fast, quickly doing something, which is what the energy does, you're needing to understand if you're doing it under a circumstance or doing it over a circumstance. Do you have control or do you have submissive behavior? That's what you're needing to realize when it comes to that. So sure, energy and motion, but how? Where? What motion? Is it being passive or is it being aggressive? That's what you're needing to see. You can't be too emotional. You can wear too many masks. An emotion is just a mask that the ego makes you wear, but you can't be too emotional. You can be too mental. You can be thinking too much. That's creating your feelings to go into overdrive and create realities that aren't meant for you, but you can't be too emotional. That's not a thing. No, I don't know how many dimensions there are. I don't think anyone truly knows how many dimensions there really are either. Because how would you know how many dimensions there are if you haven't reached the peak? You know what I mean? Because even when you reach a high dimension, does that mean it's the last dimension, or does that just mean that you've not able to exceed that other one? You know what I mean? And a dimension is just a way of looking at it, a measurement. So how many different ways can you measure something? That's as many dimensions as you can go, right? How many faces does it have? I don't really get into that whole conversation about dimensions because it doesn't. I don't need to. It's just extra confusion. It adds more delusion to things. It's trying to break something down that doesn't necessarily need to be broken down. It just needs to be melded together and understood and worked with. But these are the deeper concepts. Dimensions are levels, exactly. I would definitely say it's levels. I wouldn't say there's dimensions. People say dimensions because they're looking at it from different angles, right? And that's perfectly fine. But I agree more with levels in that sense, because it's how deep are you going? What level are you at? Where are you at, you know? I don't even really say it as levels. I just say how deep are you within yourself. Don't worry about the word emotions. When people say you're over emotional, it's just because you're expressing something that they aren't able to express. Simple as they're not able to digest what you're doing, so they need to label you as something to keep you in a box as well. And that's not what we need to do. We need to just it's a dumb label to have, because this is the fun part about free will. This is the fun part about free will. Because when we use words that have its base root definition and its meaning, the word was created to represent a thing, right? To represent an action, to represent what it stands for. But then we have people throughout times changing definitions, and then the the um, the current state of mind that we're in, creating new definitions for things. Vibrational feeling state, not emotional state. I'm gonna keep saying that because it's the feeling state. There's not an emotion in the process of manifesting. There's not an emotion in the form of any part of life. It is a feeling that you're getting. An emotion is what your ego is gonna say it is, because it needs something to latch onto. No, emotion and feeling are two different things. Emotions and feelings are two different things. A feeling comes from the divine. A feeling is a sense. An emotion is not a sense. An emotion is a mask that you wear to cover up. It is the motion that you're making. Well, how are you emoting? How are you moving? Is that emotion, and is based off of a mask that's coming from a thought that your ego has agreed to. When someone is acting mad and they start swinging their fist and screaming and stuff, that's an emotion. That's how they're spending that energy. That's how that energy is being in motion. If you talk to someone and you say something to them and they begin to cry, they're emoting their sadness. It becomes an external thing. Feeling is, yeah, exactly. Feeling is the internal. Feeling is what your soul gives you. Feeling is what comes from the divine. It is your currency for how you need to spin things. When you get that feeling generates a thought. When you scratch your head, you get that thought to scratch your head that becomes a physical reality because you're feeling something. You might not actualize it, but there's something on your skin, on your scalp, on your head that makes you go, I need to scratch it. That feeling happens first, and then you use your currency with that feeling to either scratch it or to ignore it, right? Those are the paths that you can take with it. This stuff is, it's not complicated, but it's hard to talk about because it's lost arts. And this is mainly what I like want to talk about, especially when it comes to tarot, because tarot tells you all these things within the imageries, the symbolisms, the colors, and the hand movement, the gestures, and everything. Like tarot teaches you all this stuff. It's in the cards, literally. But it's about that overstanding that you need to do, the twin individual inside of you and the two sides of them. Yeah, but if you term it emotion, you're not talking about the same thing. You terming it emotion, you're terming it something that's not the feeling state. A feeling isn't external. So that's the difference of it. It's terminology that we're getting to now. When we talk about these things, it's the terminology that I'm looking for. You might overstand it in that term of emotion, but it's the feeling. It's not the emotion, and that's where the cloudiness comes in. That's where the irregulations come in. That's where the non-action. Emotional state of a vision and holding up a cup. What do you mean by that? So an emotional state of a vision and holding up a cup in your frequency is not an emotion. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're trying to say there. Because again, there's not an emotional state. The four states that you can be, well, really the five states that you can be in, is being in the state of being in the position of an idea. And I'm saying being in the position because you don't have ideas, you're faced with one. So you're being faced with an idea, that's one state. You're being fed the feeling from your intuitive consciousness, that's another state, your intuitive state. Your physical conscious state or your external conscious state is your thinking process, your rational consciousness. Your external state, your physical being, is another state, and that goes right back to the being presented with a new idea within the divine state of being, which is you being presented with a new idea after taking action on the physical. So I'm not really sure what you mean there. Those are feelings. Those are labels for feelings. When you work out of fear, fear and anger and frustration are all the same thing. They are all falling under the same label. They're still at the same energy. They represent the same vibrable color, right? When you say fear, you can get mad because of fear. You can get scared because of fear. You can be halted because of fear. All these things are the same thing. It is a label. It is breaking down to what it truly is. Fear is not just fear alone. There is something that fear is creating, and there's something that has caused that fear. It's not just by itself. This is the deeper part of the spirituality that no one really gets to or begins to speak on. Addiction comes from thought, not from feeling. If you think that you feel you need something, that's the thought that's causing it. An addiction comes from a physical reality that's not being created, so you're using your thoughts to manipulate your internal being to do those things. Yeah, feeling a lack, oh, everything comes from within. That feeling a lack comes from within. It's from you being faced with an idea on the external that's already happened. So let's say a good example of this, because everyone goes through it, is a lack of money. When you experience a lack of money, it's not because you're lacking things on the physical. You're being faced with that idea that there's something on the physical, right? And that idea of the thing on the physical is that money not being at the value that you are thinking that it should be at, due to you feeling that you followed the idea, thoroughly. This is a continuous cycle that continuously happens. After the pinnacle goes back to the wand, the pinnacle being the lack of money on the physical, the wand being now you're faced with that idea that there is a lack based off the last cycle that you have just exited. After that, you're given that feeling of, oh, I'm seeing the lack. I feel like I should do something about this. That feeling goes to your thoughts. That thought then creates what it desires. It creates either more feelings to make you feel pressured, or it creates an external reality where you're able to move past and find solutions to fix the idea that you were faced with. It's a whole cycle that happens. This is how the mind, the human brain works. This is how reality around us is formed and works. It's deep stuff. It's very deep stuff. But this is what work. This is how it's working. This is what the ancients knew. This is what the old sages knew. This is the stuff that's not talked about anymore. And when it is talked about, it's talked about loosely. It's not overstood as the idea, the invisible being there first. And the two invisible forms that we deal with is the idea and the feelings. We don't see those things. All we really see and grasp anymore are the thoughts and the physical reality, which those two are the most advanced tools that we use carelessly. The feeling aspect of people is not an advanced tool. Being faced with an idea of something is not an advanced tool. Those things happen daily. It is the thoughts and the external reality that create the most, that then either support or tear down the ideas and the feelings that are being presented beforehand. Exactly. Believing in something, believing that you need something on the outside is a start to an addiction. You can feel anything inside. This is the whole point of, like, when you are addicted to smoking to feel a certain way, you don't need that smoke that to feel that way. You already have that feeling inside of you. It's just your ego is giving you that gratification. Exactly. External reality is created by feeling state. And that feeling state is created by an idea that is presented to you by the past physical reality due to past thoughts. This is that matrix that you have. This is the symbol of life. This is how it goes. It's a quintessential energy. It goes from the beginning, the fire, the spark of it, to the feelings, to the thoughts, to the physical reality, right back to a new idea that you're faced with, back to a new feeling. This is that human loop that we have, that we work off of. That's our operating system, our OS, if you will, right? That's how we work. That's how we digest things. That's our digestive tract when it comes to a human body and how it receives and perceives and conceives everything. But again, this stuff is not talked about that much. Yeah, see, that's another thing. Like, again, that seeing other people do those things and seeing how they, like, oh, it makes me feel better. It might create the illusion. You can't grab an idea. You don't have an idea. You can't grab an idea. You can't touch the idea. You can't obtain the idea. It shows itself to you. And then it's up to you to decide how you're moving with that idea being present. You don't own it. It presents itself to you. It is the divine. It is God talking to you saying, hey, this is the problem. This is what you need to look at. This is your reasoning. This is the advancement. This is whatever it is. This is what you're seeing. How does it make you feel? How are you going to think about it? And what are you going to do to move on from it? You don't grab it. You don't get to have it. It is something unattainable. It is the invisible. You don't touch it. You can't. You don't grab from within. You don't have the right to touch the divine within. The divine, you can't touch the divine. You create. You don't touch the divine. You co-create with the divine. It does what it needs to do. You do what you need to do. You both face each other. Well, the divine's always facing you. You need to go in and work with it. You're not taking anything from the divine other than the currency that it's giving you. That's not touching the idea. That's not touching the feelings. That's allowing those ideas and feelings to touch you, to move you. That's inertia. Something coming and bumping into you, and then you bumping into the next thing. It's just inertia moving. You don't grab it. It bumps you, it pushes you, it moves you. The limit, no, currency is not limited. The currency is unlimited until the divine restricts you from it, until the divine sees you aren't moving with it. Then the divine will stop fueling you. And when a car runs out of gas, it runs out of gas unless you put more in it. If you don't have the gas to put into it, it's not going to do anything. If you run out of the gas or you put more in it, determines where you're going. You don't take things from the divine. You're not a founder of the divine. You are the divine. You are borrowing the flesh. And the currency is a conscious, continuous stream. And it's up to you to use it on the physical. Once it's given to you, once it's shown to you, once you move with it, it's all it's going to give you. It's up to you to continue going down. No, it's not limited to you. The divine chooses that. You don't get to choose it, because if you did, then you would have an infinite supply of everything. You don't choose that. The divine fuels it to you. The divine funnels it down to you. You don't get to choose how much you get. How much you get is based off of how you're moving. And that's not something that you consciously always choose. Sometimes you're not receiving the most that you're wanting because you're moving wrong. That's not you always choosing that. Sometimes you're unconsciously moving those ways. That's not a conscious choice. That's not a decision that you desire, because you, the soul part of you, does not desire that. There are two parts of you. And to be fully in control, to fully follow, to fully go through those actions, both sides of you need to be conjoined and listening to the same voice, and not one on the external, one on the internal. Unless you're doing that, then you're actually choosing to. But not everyone does that. And that's the whole discombobulation with this. It has nothing to do with vibration to be moving. It's just a choice of who you're following. It's the choice of who's controlling the ship. Is it the divine controlling the ship, or is it the ego controlling the ship? It's not about the vibration. That has nothing to do with the vibration. That's an internal thought process. That's a matrix that you're being controlled by. That's a matrix that you subscribe to. That's a way of being that you are allowing to be. If you're used to following your ego, then you'll fall down your ego's route. If you're following the divine, you'll go down the divine's route. Though they follow the same way, they're being controlled by two different entities. It depends on what entity is choosing that. And there are more than two. The two main parts is the divine and the ego. The ego has two parts, the divine has two parts. We're a twin individual, and each of those twins have their two states of consciousness because they can't exist by their own. This is why we have two brains. I made a video about it. Go look up The Truth About the Ego Part 2 and you'll understand that. Because that's another thing about the ego that people don't understand, is that there are 5 parts of us. We are in the center of the 2 parts on each side. That's why you have one that's invisible, you have the other that's invisible, you have the 2 that are visible that can interact with you in 2 different planes, and then you're in the middle of those 2 planes, or those 4 planes actually, that allow you to move in whichever way you want to, whichever way that you choose. And whenever you choose that path, you don't actually choose the outcome. The forces on either side have already chose what outcome is going to happen when you follow them. It's just you live and experience through those things. You don't necessarily have a choice. It is a movement that you need to make. That choice that you have is the only choice of following. Do I going to follow the ego, or am I going to follow the soul? Which way am I going to go? That's the only choice you have. The rest of it is in whatever forces you follow its hands. All is one. All is one is incorrect because there can't be one. It's all is whole. When people say we need to unite to one, they're just saying they need to connect with themselves. They need to make themselves whole, not one because they're split. That's why they think they need to be one, because they're split. In fact, they're two split. They don't understand that there can't be a one. Look at the look at biology. Look at the cells and how they work. There's not just one cell. Anytime they find something, it splits into two. There's another part of it that they find. You'll never find a single thing ever. It's impossible. It will never happen. Anyone believing in single things, anyone believing in only one thing, they're not seeing it. They're only seeing the one thing that they want to see, of course. They'll only see that, but they're not seeing the totality of it, that there's a completely other side that holds it. If you have a box, what's inside the box? Space. What's outside the box? Space. It's not just the box. It's not just my hand. My hand is surrounded by space. Without that space, there would be no room for this object to be in. That's the second part of it, the invisible, the part that people don't see or focus on because it's not necessarily obtainable. The soul cannot use the ego's tool, no. The soul does not use the ego's tool. The soul, the heart space, is but the divine. There's one part that's but the divine, and it splits off into its twin that works with you on the physical, on the internal physical. And that internal physical works with an internal ego that counts as your thought consciousness, your rational consciousness, the part of you that breaks things down, the part of you that rations things and tries to make things into individual groups. And that part of the ego works with the external ego, which works on the 3D realm of the actions that you're already receiving from the internal actions that you've already configured. And that's how it's working. Ego is not as simple as you think it is. We don't live in you don't live in an ego. We live in a vessel. We live in a vessel that has its own regimens attached to it. We are divine, part creation of God, part angel, if you will, part man, part divine, part beast. That's the operations we're working with. Both the divine and the beast know that there are parts of them that equate, that want the same thing. But one will go one path and one will go another. It's up to you to focus on the two in you to figure out which path you're going to take when it comes to the external reality that you're facing. We don't walk in ego. We don't walk in it. In fact, we don't even have an ego. Our ego wants us to think that we have it so that it can protect us. What we have is the soul directing us where we need to move. It is the rational self, the mind, the right side of the body, the brain, the masculine force that wants to have that external power to shift and form and to morph things to gratify it and its fleshly desires rather than its soul desires that will blind you and put the veil over you and put the mask on you so you won't move within the full divine regimen that you have. And this is the stuff, like, I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I really do enjoy it. Like, I'm glad we're able to toss these things back and forth because it's going to help people understand, and I hope that am making sense. No, but you are blind to it. The divine can give you all the grace you want, but your ego and your rational mind itself can ignore that completely. That's your free will. You can ignore the divine and you can follow the ego. So you are blind to it. You are blind to being led by the ego, because the ego does such a good job of taking the words from the divine and making it seem like it needs to be another way than its true message. It's a game of telephone. It's not the fact that you're always being led by the divine. Mainly, you're being led by whatever path you're going down. So you need to be aware of that when messing with the ego, when messing with these things, and talking about free will, because your ego doesn't want you to have free will. The external reality of the ego doesn't want you to have that free will, and it will use that to talk to the part of the ego that can talk to the space in your heart and say, hey, this isn't going to work out. I'm not going to listen to you. And then that part of the heart relies to the divine. They're not going to listen, so we're not going to force them to. Send them signs, do what you can, but we can't force them, because they've already made the conscious decision. Whether they are consciously agreeing with it or unconsciously agreeing with it, they've already made that decision to follow what the physical is showing them, rather than what the divine is trying to also show them and giving them that currency with. Not 1,000, just two. Just two egos. And they have their own way of being, their own way of thinking. But there's just two. There's two spirituals, there's two souls, there's the invisible part, the physical part, the internal physical, and the external invisible. You need to get me a water. I'm getting dry mouth. Is there anything at all over here? No. Awesome. I will make I will make a note to run downstairs and get one then. It's just one of those days. How am I doing today? I'm doing well. I'm doing very good. I can't complain. I don't take it as a debate. No, this is fully a conversation. I don't do debates. I like conversating. I like educating. And I am a very deep individual. I don't fake this stuff. I know this stuff. I've studied this stuff. I've looked at it from so many angles. I have literally stood up nights like fighting myself over this stuff. Like, it can't be this way. It has to be that way. Like, no, it literally is, because why am I still having to fight this force inside of me that's saying that it's not? Why would I have a disagreeable in me if there's not an agreeable part with it? It's a whole thing. Like, I did deep root and shadow work with this. I don't, this is just who I am. But again, like, I'm glad we had this conversation, because again, it's needed. And a lot of people can't have these types of conversations without getting upset and heated and stuff of that nature. It's just unfortunate, right? So I needed to do my own shadow work so that I wouldn't get upset, because I understand what you're saying, of course, but when we get down to the depth of it, to understanding what's truly going on deeper level, and there's probably even more than this that I'm not aware of, right? But this is the awareness of that I can understand at this time, that I don't necessarily want or need other people at, but I feel the need to express it, to at least help the souls of others that can grasp this or are interested in it, or however just be changed in that small degree to help evolution, right? But I mean, again, like, I love talking about this stuff because it's so interesting, because to me, I just see it as other people's viewpoints. I don't care if other people want to deem it as right or wrong. I just like looking at people's point of view. You know what I mean? It's just whatever. Good luck with that. Remember not to stress out about having followers. Remember just to worry about creating leaders. Don't worry about having followers or numbers. Worry about how many people you're showing how to lead their own life when it comes to that. That's the really only way you should influence anyone, period. Um, but good luck on that journey. It's not it's not easy, but it's fun. It definitely is fun. If you can handle the trolls, if you can handle the nights where you kind of like sit back and be like, well, maybe I could have said this, maybe I could have said that, it would be fine. It puts you through a lot more shadow work than you're intending, but it is definitely for the better. Um, but regardless, I love having these conversations with people so much. It's not like every and that one day. That one day we had like 1,000 people coming in like horny as hell over here. I was like, this is not Pornhub, y'all. This is YouTube. Like, go somewhere. Exactly. I get that. But yeah, I don't know. That's one of the, I think, I don't know. That's probably just the Libra in me. I just like seeing it. No, I do though. I've studied this stuff. Like, I have, I mean, here's the thing. I even have a mentor that helps me understand this stuff. I have a mentor that's teaching me a lot of the stuff that I'm able to relay better to you all. I mean, it's a learning progress where he's done more meditations than I have, right? He's had different life experiences than I've had. And I'm learning from him and what he's learned and seeing how it compares to what I'm doing and getting proof in all these things. It's a whole thing. Yeah, the Libra exchange a lot. I'm a triple air sign, sun, moon, and rising, all air signs. It's just whatever. Like I'm all over the place. I'm very detached. I'm very strict, but I also you can see it. Like you can. It's the sun sign Libra, it's the moon Aquarius, and the ascending Gemini. I literally will debate myself till till cows come home and until 1,000 burgers are made. I will detach myself from everything by saying I don't care, it doesn't matter, but I'll also keep the balance. It's a circus over here. It is a circus over here. But we make it. I used to hate it, but then I realized that it's not that bad. I'm just too aware. And I will be like, you shouldn't say that. I don't want to say those words. I should say something different all the time. But it's good because it's like I get to be an example of like self-correction and the embarrassment that you can go through, the humility that one has to go through. It's fun. It's whatever. Dude, that's the thing. Shout out to all my Geminis out there who change their mind every like 2 seconds. I'm literally with you all. Like every second. This shit's crazy. No, seriously, because sometimes we'll just be talking and then like it's the Aquarius. It fucks me up. It's the detachment. It's the detachment for sure. But regardless, it's fun. It's whatever. Gemini triple air sign. Good luck. Good luck. Good lord. That's got to be fun. That's got to be really fun. Hmm. I enjoy how whenever you say the Pharaoh the external ego and Moses the divine, I enjoy how you say that because Moses was adopted by a pharaoh's daughter. So so Moses was literally it's just describing the story of you're the words that you're receiving from the divine are exactly what you need to be hearing, and they're saying it probably in one of the best ways I've heard anyone talk about it, truly, because it's literally telling you that the the soul was already there. The soul was shipped from the waters, was birthed into, and was given the nurturing from a mother, from a feminine energy to have a place to reside, while it was already being ruled by a pharaoh, the ego side, the ruler, the side that would dictate everything that would happen on for the external. So it says it in the perfect way. I love the way that Divine talks to different people because when you dive into things like when you learn how to read the scriptures, the Bibles and things, and learn how to decipher stuff, life is just a fucking beautiful thing. Like I don't, it just really is. But I that's like I really do understand what you're saying when you say those stuff. Like I've walked that path a little bit. I haven't walked it all the way, but I mean I'm currently still walking it, right? It is just a beautiful outlook to see, and as well to see other people who have that type of insight as well. It's just a nice thing. Hmm. But that's what I mean. That's just what's going on because whenever Moses was born, his mother had to sell him away because they were gonna kill every firstborn. So they shipped. He put she. That's why the mother put him in the little basket and shipped him off. And then she the way the, I think she said what was it to the west or was it towards the east? I can't remember where the bat what direction the basket went at this exact moment, but the reason it went that way is because the mother already knew that there was going to be a pharaoh's daughter that goes to that riverside all the time. So the second that the pharaoh's daughter woke up and rose, the feminine side began to look into the waters. Whenever he began to nurture the water, they seen the child there, the child being the divine, the present, the innocence, right? And then brought him to the pharaohs and stuff. That's also why Moses didn't get anything um, whenever him and Aaron did all the plagues and stuff. Why Moses wasn't brought to the promised land because he was already with the Pharaoh all the time. So he already lived within that promised land. There wasn't anything more to be promised other than the gratification, the glory of being saved within that manner, of being able to experience all that had happened and all the power that God can give or the divine can give to one rather than experiencing all the travasities that went on later on. Seriously. And it didn't even start from there. It goes back to the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It goes back to the Sumerian tablets. It goes all the way back. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, because Moses was the only because the Moses was brought to the Pharaoh because Moses was like, I need like because the flaming bush talked to Moses like, hey, I need you to do these things in front of the Pharaoh. Like I don't have power. Okay, well go talk to your brother Aaron, and then Aaron can do that stuff for you. Because Moses didn't do any of the magic. Aaron did. Everyone forgot about Aaron. No one remembers Aaron. Aaron is the one who did everything, bro. Aaron threw the stick on the ground and turned it into a snake. Moses was just like, hey, do that. And he was like, okay, I did it. It turned into a snake. Because Moses didn't have the power. He said, I don't know how to do any of this shit. I'm not a magician. I wasn't born within that family. I was shipped somewhere else. Like, okay, well go get your brother. Your brother's like he's a peasant. Go get him. He knows the magic. The peasants were the gypsies, by the way. But go get your brother. He knows what he's doing. That's why that whole story went that way. Looking into it deeply though, looking into these things are really gonna like expand the mindset of things. But I don't know. It's interesting when you do the lookings in on stuff and the research and the understanding of the scriptures and the symbologies of them and all sorts of stuff. It enlightens you into different things. But yeah, I'm very glad that you shared those. Thank you for sharing those because it's just it's a pipeline that people need to go down. Like a lot of people again, like when they go on the spiritual journey, they don't think that the divine's real. They begin to lose faith and stuff. And it's not that they don't exist. It's just you're not facing them fully yet. There's still part of that ego that's like, hey, do this, hey, do that. That's literally why the Pharaoh said, hey, stop with the killing of my babies. Stop killing my babies. I'll quit. I'll leave. And then they fucking left and it's like, hey, we're actually not gonna quit. They're not gonna be freed. We're gonna keep them hostage still. So I don't give a fuck how many babies you kill. We're not gonna let it do it. I also added flashcards to the tarot classes for the astrology of the tarot, so you can do those as well. I found a site that allows me to do it for free because I'm not gonna pay for shit to make flashcards. So it's on there, and you can shuffle them and stuff. And some of them are like reversed, so some of them will say like the astrology of the card, and then you have to like memorize. And it's not like an answer thing; it's just for you to remember. So you just kind of go through it at your own leisure. But I made them all for all suits, and I'm probably gonna do it for the major arcana too. So that's in there. I don't know. I just love breaking stuff down. Because you all, I mean, some of you have already seen. No, you don't need to download. If you're doing it on mobile, I'm not. No, you shouldn't need to on mobile either. You don't need to download an app. I don't think so. If I don't know actually, but I don't think you would need to. If you're on mobile or PC, I'm pretty sure it just opens up a link somewhere. Um, if you do need an account, let me know, because there's a reference code I can send you, and that's gonna give you like coins. I don't know what the coins do. I don't know what the coins do, but I don't know if you want to make Clash cards or something. I guess that helps with it. I'm not sure, but that's there. I've never heard of it. What is it? I forgot what it was even called. I don't even remember what like the site was called or anything. I just randomly found it because I was gonna use Quizlet, and Quizlet was like, "You gotta pay us money." I was like, "Fuck that! I don't want to pay you money." No, it's Noel. Nowell. Is it Nowell or Noel? Oh, know it. Never mind. That's a T, not an L. I'm blind. It's know it or something. It's interesting. Yeah. I'll have to like. I'll put the code in there after the live. I'll put the little the whatever the fuck the reference numbers in the post. Interested in learning symbols. Where's my book at? Where's the intro book? This book got me really started into it. Oh my god. This book right here. This book I was using to decode a lot of this stuff. When it came to tarot, I'll type the name of the book in the chat as well, and with the author. But this, when I was first not even when I was first, when my mentor told me about this book, because I seen it in one of his videos, and I didn't know what it was because I couldn't remember. But he said, "Go buy this book and look at it and read it." And I was reading through it, and it has so much. Dude, it's beautiful. It is alphabetical. It goes through all sorts of. It's a beautiful book. You need it. I recommend it. But can I spell and talk at the same time? No. There I am. But it really like opened my eyes to symbolisms, and then because I've always liked symbolisms, and I want to read the realm a lot more than I'm able to, because again, that's the whole point of being tapped in, is being able to read the world around you. Being tapped in, sure, you might hear the divine and be able to speak with the divine. That's one spectrum of it. That's the spiritual spectrum of it. That's the invisible spectrum of it. What about the physical spectrum? Bringing that in as well. But like, this book is so good. I love it so much. But of course, like, that's the thing. I love giving these resources out. If honestly, because I don't know if there's if I ever get a scanner, I'm gonna start scanning books and just uploading PDFs. Like, I really just do not care. I would rather have like a PDF version of something than a book. Even I like books, but I would only have the books to scan them probably. Yeah, that's the thing. The more knowledge you get, it can definitely fuck you up. You need to be careful and take your time with things when you're learning things, because it's even if you hear something that you're not fully aware of or fully understand, don't stress it. Do not stress it. Trust me, it will do more harm than good. When you're able to digest it, you'll be able to digest it. It's in here somewhere. It will stay in here, and it's also in here. It's in the mind. It's in the heart. With the soul already, you've already got what you needed. The keys there. The door just hasn't appeared yet. Because whenever you learn things, you can definitely, like, your ego will act up because it's like, no, you have to hold on to this way of being and all these things, and then you're battling with yourself because you're not getting what you need from it immediately. All sorts of stuff. But taking your time with it, and good luck with the battling of addictions. That I know that for sure. I've gone down the path of addictions for all sorts of stuff. I literally have a caffeine addiction when I was a child. I was addicted to smoking at one point. I was addicted to a bunch of stuff. It's a process that we have to work from. No, exactly. Having all the knowledge and then taking action. How are you going to take action? That's the question I've been asking myself for months. It's like, how am I going to talk about this shit? And it's like, well, obviously, just talk about it. Quick answer, just talk about it. Awesome. Well, yeah, let me talk about it. How? Every time I go live with one of these, I don't have something set in mind. And even when I do, I just talk about other stuff anyway, right? Because it's like questions coming. It's really just being the fisherman, being the hermit, really. Sitting up top of the mountain and just being like, I'm not going to have a direction. I'm just going to hold the light. And whoever comes up and wants this light, we'll let them see it. It's just what we got to do. But again, that comes down to like, how are you going to present it? What are you going to do? Are you going to just do what I'm doing, like get up and talk and live stream? Are you going to make videos about it? Are you going to do animations? How is it going to happen? What do you desire to do with it? And that's where your creativity kicks in, you know? And that's just part of the journey. That's just the fun part. I want to do more creative stuff, but at the time, this laptop's not going to handle it, and I'm not going to stress it or pressure it. When time comes for that, time will come with that. Until then, I can just live stream and do videos. How am I? I'm doing well. How are you doing? I'm doing well. But yeah, it's a journey. It's a fun journey. Hell yeah. Well, good luck with that. Keep going there. Keep walking that path because you're not alone. We're walking right with you. So congratulations. Keep walking down it, and I'm wishing you the best with it. And that goes for anyone that's starting up anything. Doesn't matter if it's talking about this or starting your own channel or even like doing your own thing that has nothing to do with spirituality at all or teachings or anything. Just good luck with whatever you're doing truly because we're all walking down the path of just doing what we actually desire to do rather than what the ego wants us to do. And that's a struggle on its own. That is a huge struggle on its own, you know. So keep walking it. Just keep walking that path. If you feel like you're walking a little slow, keep walking slow. It's okay. We'll catch up at some point. We're not all fast at the same time, you know. Sometimes I'll slow down, you'll catch up. Sometimes you'll be ahead of me and I'll catch up. You know, it's how it is. Don't worry about where you're at. It just matters where we're going. Exactly. We just souls in the spiritual war. And like the majority of the war is inside. And then like the smallest percentage of it is on the outside. And we're like, fuck, I can't even handle the inside. And now this thing's happening. I can't no more. I'm done. I can't. No more. It's just how it is. Yeah, but that's the thing as well. Living within that fear isn't always such a bad thing because that fear is the motivator. That fear is showing you what you're not desiring. It's showing you half of the equation. All you need to do is find the solution of that equation, and that just comes from introspection. What can I do? What am I being told to do? How am I being told to do it? And then walking down that path and actually moving with it, actually going forth with it. You know, because that's the thing. Everything's neutral. It doesn't matter what it is. Anger could be neutral. Anger is showing you I really don't like this. In fact, I don't like this so much that it's causing me to act out in a way that does not resonate with who I normally am. That's how much I don't like it. It's not saying that you're a bad person or that someone's a bad person. It just says that that person has been put to their limits and now they know where their limit stands. Now they can put a boundary there and not have anything cross it no more. Oh man. Yeah, but that's the thing as well. Self-doubt, not believing in self, not believing that you are able to be a receiver from the divine, not being able to overstand and know that all these things are happening. Because everything's neutral at the end of the day. Once you can truly solidify that down as everything is neutral, you'll be on a higher path because you'll get so many realizations after that. It's like, fuck, everything in reality is happening because of me. And then you start walking down that path. It's like, what the fuck do you mean that nuclear bombs were created because of me? What, how am I related to nuclear fission and all those things? And you walk down that path and figure out, oh, this is just me splitting apart from the parts of me that I'm not even noticing. That's causing a whole ass chain reaction and destroying parts of me that I'm not even fully aware of yet. Wow. And I'm a nuke now all of a sudden. Now I'm an airplane and all these things. You are literally everything. You're just in a different form than it. It's crazy, but it's just how it is. You gotta walk down you gotta walk down that path to see it though. That's the thing. Once you can start knowing things and not believing in things, it changes. Once you have a full system that you know that you want to live by, that you know that you wish to follow, it should be no longer be a belief. It should just be a knowing. Like it is this. Ever writing a book? I have a few books. I'm writing more books. I'm going to be writing more books. I need to be writing more books. All the books I have are all the same price. They're all 15. If I end up writing a grander book, I'm probably gonna price it a little bit higher, but for now it's just gonna be 15. I have like 2 books on duality, a book on loving yourself and how loving yourself isn't always just an internal thing, it's sometimes an external thing. I have a channeled message book. I had channeled messages from like different angels, different Egyptian goddesses and gods in another book. The Greatest Show on Earth. I forgot what that book was about. I'm not even gonna lie. I think that's one of the books I forgot about completely. Was that one right there? That was the last book I made. I don't. I was in like some form of like, I don't know. I was down a rabbit hole. Do you have a Discord? No, I want to make one though. I have a Discord. I don't have a server for talk. No, I do. What the fuck? I do have a server. It's just no one's in it. I forgot about this server I had. Oh my god. Um. um. Is it still a thing though? Is my question. Why can I not? Speaking about Discord, it's just froze for me, so I guess I can't show that right now. Yeah, I'll drop the link when I can. See, that's the thing. I get like that's the issue. That's the issue that I have. I get so busy, caught up in so much shit that I forgot. I keep forgetting about like the main thing that I'm working on, like the main, like I don't know, man. I gotta stop doing that. That's my problem. I go, oh, I'm gonna work on this, and then I go, oh, I need to do this and that. There's so much to do, and I don't have to do it all, but I wanna. Yeah, I live in my head. It's just that's the Gemini aspect of me. I'm always in my head. I'm in my head either bickering at myself or telling myself it's okay. Sometimes I do both at the same time. But it's the existence, you know? I don't put any I don't put any pressure, I don't put any blame on myself. It's just how it is, you know? Until I can fully leave that realm, which at the same time, I feel like I'm supposed to be in the mental realm in that sense, so I can level myself out. Because it's not like a restrictive factor, but I am like an etch-a-sketch. Yeah, exactly. As long as I remain in my purpose, I am. But so many projects I like have up at the same time. That's why sometimes I just disappear for a few days because I just like take huge breaks from everything. It's like I can't do nothing today. But we're good. I've got the balance of being able to work on certain things for sure, but I need to work more on it. Also, I need to get that a Discord. I don't. Where did it? I deleted it, didn't I? Why did I delete it? I'm so weird. No, it's right here. I didn't delete it. It's right here. It's not. named anything. It has no rules. I'm afraid to post it right now because of what could happen. But at the same time, I'm gonna just say fuck it and post it anyway. But yeah, let me just do this right now. I'll just post this here for anyone that wants to join now, I guess. And then I'll make another post about it. Because I gotta go make rules and a bunch of other stuff, I guess. Not necessarily, well, yeah, just for like certain stuff, but regardless, there it is. It's still under sublunar, so I gotta change that. There's like 2 people in here. I don't even know how they're in here. I forgot that they were in here. Regardless, it don't matter. So there it is. There's the Discord link. If enough people join in there, as well, like if you go into the researches and info, I have a bunch of stuff in there as well. That's very interesting. Just some documents, some PDFs and stuff. Oh, Discord. Imagine like Google Chat, but for but it's like an actual server. So instead of just like, it's like a social media app. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's meant for people who play games, but no one really uses it to play games anymore. It's kind of like turned into a weird version of Skype. But it allows you to chat, video chat, and stuff like that. Like Reddit, not really like Reddit. It has like dedicated server. You can join different people's servers. You can add people as friends on there. But it's like you get to join servers that people make and stuff. So it's kind of like Reddit where you subscribe to those things, but it's more community based. But at some point, we'll do like classes and stuff in there. And like if I like screen record them or like audio record them or whatever, we'll post them to YouTube and stuff. But it's just a nice idea to have. Yeah, you have chats. There's different like branches that you can put stuff in and all sorts of stuff. It's very interesting. But yeah. My brain's my brain's doing too much right now. I'm literally sitting here like planning out what I'm gonna do for the Discord while looking at the chat and talking. Like and I keep looking back at the Discord. I'm going crazy when it's hard. But yeah, there's the server. I don't know. I'll make a post about it on the community page as well for it. And I'll get it. I can't focus. That's the thing. I'm focused right now. But I'm focused on like 1,000 things. It's okay. But it is a way. It's a way. I'm not looking at it, but I'm looking at it. You know what I mean? Like it's on my taskbar, so I can't not look at it, but I'm not on it. I'm just being observant is all. Post it when I go live. Yeah, of course, yeah. I'll make posts about it all the time. Like, hey, I'm gonna go in the Discord and talk about XYZ, you know, all these things. Focus, I am. I set the energy. I am focusing. I don't care. I have to. Not that I have to, I just want to. It's hitting that point of the stream. It's just there. It's almost 2 hours in. The energy's kind of like up and floaty. It's just how it is. And welcome in. It's almost 3 o'clock. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is just how it is. This is it. It's like this normally, but I live it. You have a great day too. Thank you for stopping by. I do a shug, which just means blessings and love. Well, much love, I should say. Oh yeah, are there any other questions? Anything else? I might, I don't know, what will I do? It's not going at 34. When my phone hits 25, I'll bounce out. And when I really mean by that is when my phone hits 20%, I'll probably bounce out. You need a mentor. I have one-on-ones. You can get a one-on-one class where I'm basically a mentor. With that, or if you just have questions to ask me, you can just email me questions. I don't mind to answer questions through email. But if you're wanting like a continuous one-on-one service where you can contact me in quicker ways, and get like immediate responses and stuff of that nature, definitely get the one-on-one. So I mean, there's that. I try my best to do like both like paid and free for everything, just cause it's just how it is, you know. Even though I come here and do the things as well, it's just nice to do that. It's just how I am. Yeah, an encounter yesterday. Kind of missing your hair. I know what you mean. I didn't realize how tense my scalp would get at times, and I've had to deal with that, and it's not been fun. So I've learned that the hard way. But it's growing. I mean, it's gonna be back to normal length hopefully here soon. It'll probably be more of an afro than like, you know, down. Cause I don't remember what I did to my hair to make it fall down. Because it didn't used to do that. It used to be an afro. My afro was at like out day here at one point, and then one day it just started falling down. I do feel the miss of the bouncing because it was bouncy. Because I went to, when I was in the audio engineering school, I had my afro, and like, what? I don't have my phone's in front of me. What am I doing? No, but I have a photo from like when I was in college. I was straight up looking like some kid from the 80s. But I had like a leather jacket on. I wore the 80s circle glasses. I had it all going. But I'll bring it back. I gotta bring the afro back. I have to bring it back because that shit was fun. I mean, I put pick in my hair. I used to put pencils in my hair in school and shit all the time. I'd get in trouble for it. It was just what we had to do. Of course, being the only like kid who had that texture hair in school, like I was like I'm putting all sorts of shit in my hair. I was putting pencils. I was putting all sorts of stuff. It's like whatever. The teachers didn't like it, but you know, what are they gonna do? It's my hair. Tell me to cut it. I won't. I don't give a damn. I'll only cut it if I want to. And I wanted to cut it because I did want my hair to be poofy again. And I also wanted to like help my scalp because I was having like scalp issues at one point, and I wanted to like fix that. I think my scalp was getting too dry at one point. See, that's what people thought. People thought I had a perm. My hair is just curly. When I don't know what I did. How did I get my hair to do that? Because it took like a year for me to get it to straighten down like that. So I don't even know what I did. Because there's pictures of me in like 2021. No. Literally 2023 where my hair was poofy. So I did something within the past like 2 years to make it fall down. Yeah, Della was just so heavy that the energy just fried it for a second. Not the not the pimp perm. See, that's the thing. The texture of like certain textures of hair, people don't know how to mess with. I didn't let anyone touch my hair. The only person I let touch my hair was my mom's salon, person, because my mom would get perm. My mom would get perms, and I was like, I can trust you a little bit with my hair. So I'm gonna see how it worked. And she didn't fuck my hair up at all. She actually helped my hair out a lot. So I was like, I'll let you keep moving with my hair, but I don't I don't let anyone touch my hair. I don't even put stuff in my hair. The most I've been using is like olive tea oil. Like this is all I use on it, and I've had this for like months, and it's not even like gone. I barely put anything in my hair, and even then, that's like for my scalp, not even for my hair. One of my friends got a perm because they wanted an afro, and it did not look good. And I didn't have the courage to tell him that it didn't look good, so I just let him keep it. He liked it, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna. If he likes it and I don't, I'm not gonna say the damn thing because that's me. It's just my thing at that point. I don't think he has a perm anymore, though. I don't think he gets them anymore. But he really wanted an afro for some reason. I don't know why. Why does everyone want an afro? Like everyone's so interested in like I want my hair to be curly and perm. Like it seems nice, but it's not that easy to take care of. You gotta like, you know how it is. I used to have my hair cut like this all the time in like elementary school and middle school. This was like my normal haircut. It was worse though because my hairline wasn't like this. It was fucking horizontal. I mean not horizontal, diagonal. Because the person that was cutting my hair when I was a child didn't know how to fucking cut hair, and they would always like it would either be this way or that way, and it pissed me off. And I just stopped getting haircuts after that. Like after middle school, I said no more haircuts because I'm not dealing with the fucked up hairline no more. No one like noticed it or made fun of me because I was in like a country school. It was a small town, so no one really gave a fuck. But I just couldn't handle looking at it. It was just like I don't want to do this anymore. I do want to get cornrows again, but I don't know if I want afro or cornrows first, and I got time to think about it. But I was gonna get cornrows the day that I shaved my hair. The person that could do cornrows walked up and said, were you the one that wanted cornrows? And I said, yeah, but there's an issue. And I took off my hood and was bald. And she was like, really? I said, what? I didn't know you were gonna be here today. She said, yeah, well, here I am, and now I ain't got no hair to braid. I'm like, I'm sorry. Give me a few months, I'll be back. That was a fun time. That was ironic. It was so ironic, dude. It was hilarious. Because I sent a message to two of my friends. I was like, dude, I'm going bald. And one of them said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just going to cut my hair off. It's like, I want to get my hair cornrowed, but it's taken a while. And then literally the next day, not even just the next day, hours after, like an hour or two after I shaved off all my hair, there they were, just waiting. And I was like, damn, like, look at this. I have the hair in a trash bag. You want to make me a wig out of it? I didn't get no wig out of it. I could have. Literally hours after. It was awful. Because I woke up, I was like, all right, we're going to shave all this shit off. I got the trimmer. I went to work. I had a lot of hair. I was surprised about how much hair I had to have. Yeah, see, I could have donated it. I didn't know anyone around me who could. But then, again, the person that braided hair could also donate it. And guess what my dumbass did? I got rid of it. I burnt some of it. And then the other half was just gone. So I couldn't do that, and that was unfortunate. But I remember for next time now. I have what I need to know for next time. It's just trials in life. It's just how it is and what it do. Oh, I thought my phone went up to 40%. I was really confused there for a second. Yeah, I know that I found that out. There was actually someone nearby that could have took the hair and shipped it out to that person. Well, I don't know if we're talking about the same person, but to a person who does make wigs for kids with leukemia and cancer treatments. Like literally every information that I was trying to find out happened immediately after I took an action. How long did it take me to grow my hair? I didn't have a haircut for like 4 years. I refused to like I had trims in high school. And then I stopped getting haircuts my senior year summer, like the senior after my senior graduation summer, I should say. So I didn't have my haircut for 4 years. I learned how to take care of my hair from that too, because I grew up with parents that didn't. Well, my mom knew how to, but she passed away. So I didn't really have anyone to teach me how to take care of my hair. So I was kind of just like learning how to take care of it. It's not that hard once you learn how to, but growing up without like parents that know how to take care of textured hair, it's good luck. It's rough. Especially because not a lot of barber schools teach you how to mess with textured hair or curly hair. It's just. Mm. But my hair was never, well, I can't say it was never messy. It was messy some days, but that was just because I didn't do anything that day for do anything. Damn. See, that reminds me. I had a teacher, um, in elementary school, and she would step on her hair. Her hair was like down to her ankles, and sometimes she would step on it, and she'd like never had a haircut for like 20 some years. Alrighty, see you, Christina. Have a fun time. See, that's what I don't want to cut my hair anymore. And if I do, I would rather trim it and just like get the ends taken care of and do like scalp treatments instead. Because I don't know. I just getting a haircut was refreshing for sure, but it's whatever. Like I don't know. I don't know. I thought I was gonna be tore up about it, but I really wasn't. I really thought that I was gonna be sad about having my hair cut off. I don't know why. I think it was just because I was so used to seeing everyone else around me getting tore up by doing it or something, and I was just like, I don't know. I seem sad today. No, I'm just exhausted. I we had a very deep dive in a very deep conversation that lasted almost 2 hours straight. So I'm kind of poofing down a little bit. We're on the decline of the stream where I'm about to get off and rest and do some other things. But we're doing well. Yeah, others cried about it. Y'all cried for me. I didn't have to. I was like, I'm gonna get on stream with no hair. That first day that I went on stream with no hair, everyone was like, what the hell's going on? Did you, like, all the trolls popped in that day too? Bro, everyone was at me. I had the whole universe being like, oh, you cut your hair. Like, you really don't care about it? This shit was funny. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's here still. It's just short. Oh, man. Alrighty. Well, I'm probably gonna hop off here. I'm gonna go get me some waters. I'm gonna go get me some relaxation. And I'm probably gonna be back later on tonight. Um, I might be doing a reading by then. I'm not really sure about the plan. Whatever happens then, I'm gonna let it happen. Um, yeah, like, that's the thing. My followers have been crazy. The subscribers have been like nuts. I lost like 300, and then I've slowly been gaining them back. I just don't look at stats anymore. I'm tired of looking at them. Looking at stats is exhausting. I don't care about them much anymore. But regardless, thank you all for being here. Um, If you're needing any of the resources, they'll be in the description. Um, I'll be making a post about some other stuff. I want to get like, um, I don't know what I could get for that. Like a document, like a Google document that we could have that have a bunch of links on it for researching purposes and stuff or whatever. But regardless, we'll get stuff like that figured out. But I love you all so much to the moon and back. Thank you all for being here. And